dear.
Has he got issues?
Hello and welcome to BBC Africa Facebook Live. I'm Victoria Uwonghunda and I am with Vali Fontaine, a journalist, a colleague of mine here at the BBC, and now an author of How to Grow Longer, Healthier, Natural Hair Whilst Wearing Weaves, Wigs and Braids. Welcome, Vali.
Thank you very much indeed. Victoria or Vic? What should I call you?
Vic.
Vic.
Yeah.
I've got to say I'm a hair blogger. I'm best known as Hair Valley, as in hair on your head valley. So that's where the people that are into hair, that's what they know me as.
Yeah. So tell us, why did you write this book?
I started going natural unbeknown in 2009. I'd had a perm for 20 years. 2009, I had my last perm, December of 2009. At that stage, I didn't know it was going to be my last perm. Because as far as I was concerned, in 6 months' time, I used to have them every 6 months. So I thought to myself, in 6 months' time, I'll have my next. So come July, I just thought, no, I can't do it. I just got to the stage where I thought, I don't want to do this anymore. And then I discovered YouTube and realised I was not alone. And I realised there were lots of other women who were ditching the creamy crack.
As we all know, we've been there. So how was that feeling? You know, the first moment when you realised, I am no longer addicted to the creamy crack.
Well,
chemicals.
At that stage, I kind of thought I was, because I got to the stage where it was like, oh my gosh, I looked at my hair. And at that point, I had like about that much regrowth, and then I had the thin ends, so my hair wouldn't hang straight. It hung in a really awkward kind of way, and I used to wear it down all the time because I was permed, and suddenly it was like a bit hedgy, you know, my full frizz factor, which I love frizz, I've got to say. Afro hair to me is frizzy hair. Yeah. I know people think frizzy is negative. I love the frizz, but the frizz at the base and the limp ends looked wrong. Looked totally awkward, and that's when I started my journey into the whole weave, wigs and braids, because I couldn't have the two textures. Because I've got to say as well at this point, I didn't do the big chop. I know a lot of people do the big chop.
I did.
Did you?
Yeah,
okay.
Almost to my scalp. It was terrifying.
Yeah, I just wasn't brave. I'd always had shoulder length hair, more or less. And for me at that point in my life, I just thought, no, I can't. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to see if I could sort of put my hair away and hopefully wear a wig or something and nobody would notice that
something had changed.
Exactly. And I think I kind of got away with it. The only problem I had is that the wigs in the shop didn't fit my head, because my head from here to here is actually too big.
So what did you do? What do you do in that case?
I decided to make my own wigs, and that's the beauty of YouTube.
You sat at home and made your own wig.
Well, it was either that or send $200-300 to somebody abroad who I didn't know to make me a custom wig. And at that point in my life, I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that.
And
I don't know who it is.
How was that experience?
When I made my own, well, it was great because there's so many people online showing you how to make them. It was fabulous. It was fabulous. They told you about the hair, what equipment you needed. It could be done very cheaply. And that's what I started to do. And so I rested my own hair. I started off with a full wig. Then I went to the half wig, wherein I only had the back in a wig and I had the front maybe cane road. And you know, at one point, and then I had it straight still. I wasn't going for a frizzy texture. I went for a straight texture. And one colleague said to me, oh, Vali, I love your hair. Where did you get it straightened?
My own kitchen.
And I didn't have the heart to say, actually, it's a wig. I just said, I managed to change the subject. So that was the initial kind of, part of going natural, so to speak. As I said, the idea also of not doing the big chop meant if I changed my mind, I could just go and have it permed.
Hair,
I can go and have it permed.
I guess. So who is this book geared to? Yeah, who is it targeted?
It's for people who are wanting to have the luxury of both, which is what I say I have at the moment. I've got a confession to make. Do you like my hair?
Yeah, I mean, it was going to be my next question. It looks just gorgeous.
Well, it is, in fact, this is my own kind of version of a weave. So literally what
do you have in? Talk us through what you have in now.
Okay, so I'll explain what my hair is. The front is mine. So it's got a plait that I've pinned to the back.
And that's your own.
That's right. And then I've got my own version of a weave.
Your homemade.
Non-load bearings. I should say that the book is all about learning how to use weaves, wigs and braids in a non-load bearing way, being aware of how your hair grows, being aware of what's the best things you can do for your hair, from diet to exercise, There's no magic potion that you can buy in a shop that's going to grow your hair. I know there are lots of promises on labels, but I've yet to come across a product, whether it's castor oil. I know everybody, says castor oil can grow you. Look, scientifically, and we're talking scientifically proven, there isn't anything that I have come across that you can buy without a medical prescription from a shop that will actually make your hair grow.
So what do you have underneath? If all that gorgeousness is no use.
I have just got, so I'll turn around and show you. I've got a cane row, and the cane row goes from, so imagine my hair's cut in half. The front is mine. And at the back, I've got one cane row. So I'm going to show you. And then I've got this weave thing that I made myself sitting on top of it. So, shall I turn around?
Yes.
Okay, let's go. This is a trade secret,
Well,
you do. Pins it up.
So the underneath, that one, is that still your hair?
That's me.
Yeah.
In here.
But then it's the same length as what we are seeing now.
Yeah, but that's a trick. And the idea is the reason why I'm wearing it, and this is the point I'm making. Although lots of women are going natural, and that's a choice, the majority of women around the world who have access to weaves, wigs and braids are wearing weaves, wigs or a braid. That's the majority. And the problem is, the longer you wear them for, the more likely you are to do damage to your hair, especially your hairline. I am now seeing that because weaves, wigs and braids are so cheap, I'm seeing little girls of 6 and 7 with receding hairlines, with gaps in their hairlines. And the problem is, if you manage to ruin your hairline through tight braiding, heavy plaits, heavy weaves, tight cane rowing, there's a high chance, and it seems to be the majority, because if you look around, I'm sure you can just do a head count. The majority of people are losing their hairline. And the idea is that I am trying to show you through the book how you can combat that, how long you should wear the weave for, how tight you should braid your hair.
A few more tips. How long should one wear a weave for? I've never worn a weave or a wig.
I would say a wig, the beauty of the wig is you can take it off. You literally take it off. I used to take my wig off and put it on the banister of the stairs.
Keep the shape.
That's right. As soon as I walked through the door, I took it off every option there was. With something like this, let me just show you what I've got on. I actually got a sample. I've actually got one that I made. See, I'm always experimenting. And
How much time do you spend on your? I mean, I know women.
It's about finding.
It's
about finding solutions. So this is the first one I made.
Mm-hmm. Let me touch, because it's one of those things that I never touch.
It's like a grass skirt.
Yeah.
And as you can see, it's got hair clips.
It's soft.
Yeah. And literally, I'm just pinning this at the back. But I mean, that's just me doing it like this because this is an easy, simple way for me. Most people have them sewn in or clipped in.
And that's which is the most common?
The one where you have the cane row and you have it sewn in.
And how long should one?
I would say the maximum time I would say is the least time is best. I would say 4 weeks. And people think, oh my gosh, I spent all that money, 4 weeks.
Exactly, because they cost money.
Absolutely.
They cost a lot of money.
But the problem is, you've got to think about it. This thing is weighing on your hair. So we always think our hair might look like it's tough, but it isn't. And if you think about one single strand of hair, if you're putting the equivalent, and when you see people with those big braids, especially, I think, oh my God.
Box braids, which are on fashion now.
Yeah, and they're heavy compared to the amount of hair it's sitting on. So you think about this bit of, the swinging motion, and it's pulling at your roots constantly. You might not feel it unless you run for a bus. You'll feel it. Or if you go into water and it gets heavy as you go into water and it weighs down. All this is pulling at your scalp.
So we are damaging our own hair.
Yeah. And again, we have this thing, us black women, us African women, have this thing about neatness. So we must pull in every single loose hair we can find.
Yeah.
Again, that is just trouble. You're just asking for trouble, because unfortunately what that means is that those hairs are going to pop out. You're not seeing them. Microscopic hairs over time.
So tip number 1, keep them in the least minimum of time.
Exactly.
And number 2?
Tip number 2 is if you can, do not braid near the hairline too tight. Keep it
when
loose.
you're braiding, say like now I have my braids on because it's winter, my natural hair. I thought, let me just put them under hibernating for the cold weather. So basically what you're saying, stay away from the hairline. What do we do then? Do we then just braid in, we leave some hair?
Yeah, and maybe use some oil or something and just brush the front
But then that's when you start hearing, again, as you were saying, as black women, we want it to be neat, to be nice. Then you've got some stray hair.
Flyaways, yeah.
How?
You've just got to, the idea is that unfortunately, if you put weight on it, and lots of people, again, you've got your hair in a bun today, sometimes people wear it up here, or sometimes they have it down. if you're pulling the hair in the wrong direction to what it was plaited, again, you're causing stress. The idea is to not feel the hair. Even when I haven't got a weave on and I've got my hair in a bun, if I have my bun here, I can feel the hairs at the front of my head pulling.
Yeah.
And this is on my own hair. So I know that I mustn't wear my bun at the mid-range of my head. Even with my natural hair, I'll wear it at my nape around here, so you don't have the stress on the front because I can feel it. And when I run for the bus, I hold my bun when I run.
Wow. What if you've got your bag and everything? I mean, you're running around with...
My next magic trip is I run 3 times a week.
Exercise.
I run indoors on a treadmill.
You keep hearing people saying, I can't exercise, sweat. I can't get my hair wet.
There
I
is
can't do
that.
This. Yeah.
That's again.
What do
that's
you
a whole.
do?
I've got 28 chapters in my book. I went as far as China for the research. There's a lot of information, so I'm just going to give you little tips. I run indoors because I've got a treadmill, running machine, and as I said, like for instance, I've got this on. I don't want to be running, jumping, running up and down, even though it's not very heavy. I still don't want anything pulling on my hair. So this is not going to be looking very attractive. You see, I'm holding this very close to my chest right now.
I am very curious now because it looks like something that I put on. And most people watching us now, they put on before they go to bed.
Absolutely. I have got the little old silk
Lifesaver,
cap.
yeah.
And this, honestly, shall I put it on?
Yeah, go ahead.
It looks horrible. But you know what? I'm at home by myself.
Most black women do, because that's how you keep the hair looking fly. You want to have it a certain
I'm
way.
going to look like a rapper now. Okay. So literally, what I do,
this is what you do when
and
you're
I put
about
all
to
of
go
it
out
in.
and run.
I put all of it inside. Mm-hmm. So I'd literally do something like this. So
it's all kept together.
that's right. So therefore, there's no movement. The idea is to stop the hair from moving. That's really the idea.
But then you hear also people saying that because of where it is, because they are tight, they're meant to hold everything in. And then aren't you afraid that it's going to be kind of pushing and pulling on the hairs that are on
It's sitting here. I'm only wearing it for half an hour. It just means that
so
my
we
hair...
shouldn't worry about it pulling the hairs.
Because it's not actually resting on the hair, it's resting on my head. So my head is taking the load, my forehead, rather than my hair.
Basically, if you want to go out run, put
the hair in a way where it's not going, the load of it is not going to be pulling in any position. And because a lot of women have got their lovely big weaves on. I've seen them in the gym. They've got their weaves on. I call them their Kim Kardashians. They've got their long, beautiful weaves on. And the same goes for
Straighten their
dreadlocks.
backs, yeah.
They've got their dreadlocks. There's a man at my gym and he has his dreadlocks. And he's running around and I'm just
men will also kind of suffer the same issues as
dreadlocks are heavy.
women do.
And let's face it again, if you look at dreadlocks as well, that's a lot of dead hair that's holding on to how many strands. And what happens over time, people lose their dreadlocks because they get heavy, they snap and they fall off. And what people start doing is twisting two together to make one. You're still causing a lot of stress to your own hair, which can't take the load. It can't take it. And therefore we lose it. And the problem is it sometimes scars. And if it scars, you lose the hair forever. It doesn't come back. So my thing is, there's no point in telling people, don't wear weaves, wigs and braids. The majority of women wear them. They look great. It's great to have the choice. But I'm trying to help people to understand your hair and know its limitations so you can enjoy it and still have a head of hair at the end of the day. Another reason why I did it is I said I went on YouTube in 2010, 6 months after I decided to go natural. Lots of people on there blogging, vlogging and being hair experts. And I have to be honest with you, Vic, I was so concerned about the information on there.
That's the thing, because there are so many people out there now giving. I mean, for when I went natural, I used the YouTubes, I used the tutorials, online blogs. I mean, there are thousands and thousands of those. But the information, how do we know what is right and what is not? Because you go on YouTube and you see subscribers, you see 1 million.
Yeah.
Then you think, oh, somebody actually has this many followers.
And she must know what she's talking about.
Yeah.
Well, this is the interesting thing. A lot of people on there are learning as they go along, and everybody's learning with them, because I also know that there are some big names, which I won't mention, who have gone on this journey, have decided maybe to colour their hair. Oops, my hair's breaking. Oh, I had to cut it. And they take people on that journey with them. And what people don't realise is they're experimenting a lot of the time. And I love our American sisters, but for them, more so than I think women in any other part of the world, they had their hair permed from the age of 2, 3 and 4, I'm hearing, from what I see online. And therefore, they've only just got to know their hair now that this whole natural hair revival's come, and they've suddenly realised, oh my gosh, I've got curly hair, it's full, it can do this, it can do that. And they are rightly amazed and happy. But for a lot of other women, certainly for me here in the UK, we didn't have access to the level of straightening creamy cracks that they had. And again, as I said, I didn't do mine without giving you my age. I didn't perm my hair until I was 20. So I knew my hair already. I'd gone through, and most of my friends at school here in London
Had the same.
thing. Or maybe they hot combed it, or maybe they used the relaxer, but not to the extent of the Americans, who had what we believed when I was growing up was like the most pristine hair we'd ever seen, because they had straight hair, not a kink in sight. And we thought that was the best. But the truth of the matter is, we know our hair. I certainly know my hair. So even though I then went to the creamy crack, the perm, for several years, I've returned. I'm not returning as a newbie.
You've been here before.
I've been here before.
Yeah.
I knew my hair before. The problem is the American market is the biggest market, so they get the most attention. So, of course, they have the numbers, and people assume numbers means knowledge, and unfortunately, numbers don't mean knowledge. Another problem with online is that a lot of people are on there. Some women declare it, and I'm really pleased when they do, that they are paid to say and do as they do. There's another group of women who you might think, they're just the girl next door, they just look like your cousin down the road, they just look normal doing videos in their bedrooms. Some of those are paid too, because what the advertisers are doing, what the product manufacturers are doing, they realise the more normal she looks, the more unlike a model she looks, the more, as long as she's got lots of followers,
Yeah, girl.
the
next
more
door.
girl next door she looks.
Yeah.
That's where they invest their money.
So for your book, because it's quite, it's
28 chapters.
what 28 chapters. So it's hefty.
Yeah. And it's an e-version as well, because I realise, again, it's not cheap. I'm not going to say it's cheap. It's £19.99, which is about $25 now, I think. But there's an e-version on Amazon, and that's cheaper. But the truth of the matter is, I don't think it's that expensive, because I'm seeing what people are paying for. I'm hearing that people get weaves for like $200-300. I'm like, wow. And people buy products now, and the price, and again, the prices of product, I don't know what's going on. Suddenly people are paying £15, seems to be the standard for certain products, which is about $20 American dollars. I buy cheap products because it's not about the product per se. It's about your genes. It's about your health and well-being, what you do, your exercise. It's not about what you put on your hair. It's about what you put in your body. It's about how you take care of what you've got. The book tells you how you can take care of your hair yourself. There's a whole chapter about hairdressers, about what questions you should ask your hairdresser.
It's so hard to find a good hairdresser.
Yes.
So that's why I guess most people will settle just, let me have my sister, my cousin, my mom, my aunt, or someone in the neighborhood put those things
Exactly.
on.
And at least if you've got your sister, your mum, she's going to care about your hair. Even
Well,
though
if she doesn't know.
Even though she might not be doing it properly.
Yeah.
But then you have the situation where you have lots of people who are not related to you, do not have your hair at their best interest. I go into a shop to buy a hair product, and then, a woman comes along and says, oh, do you want your hair done? And she's standing there with a headscarf on. I'm thinking, with all due respect, if you're going to ask me if I want my hair plaited,
Let me see what you have
let's
on.
see how you look after your own.
Yeah.
And the chapter about hair salons and hairdressers tells you the range of questions you should ask of someone who's going to touch your hair.
Give us a couple of questions that I should be asking if I'm
Something
looking
really
for
basic, like, how long have you been doing hair? What is your speciality? Is it perms? Is it natural hair? Is it braiding? Is it, cane rowing? Do you do weaves? What is your specialism? Because what you'll find, a lot of women are having difficulty now finding people that can do natural hair. And it sounds amazing, doesn't it?
It is. Trust me, as a natural, I found out how hard it is to get someone to do. I am here. I had a discussion with, and it was actually a fight. Let's call what it is. A woman just wanted to brush my hair dry. I said, excuse me, you do not touch my hair dry with a brush. And she was like, what do you mean?
Exactly.
I'm like, I looked at her, I'm like, I'm sorry, but the hair you have on, whatever you have on, whatever you paid for it, underneath, you've grown up with some hair that I have now. You cannot tell me that somebody was combing your hair dry. And I just left because I've just now come to that level where I'm just trying to understand how my hair works.
Yeah.
What I do at home, I never brush my hair dry. So who are you to? So I guess it's one of those things that you learn, and you actually being vocal about what you think is good for your hair.
Absolutely.
So going back to the book, because again, you mentioned how versatile our hair is. You can do so many things. You can braid, you can weave it, you can wig it, whatever you want it to be,
Yeah.
even perm it.
Yeah.
how much research do you do? Did you do research for all those kind of things that you can do?
Absolutely. Within the book, it talks about the pros and cons of each type of insulation with weave. So, for instance, you can have the weave where you have the cane row and then you sew it on. You can have the weave where you have the new kind of braiding where you feed the hair through the cane row without any sewing. You can have the weave where you glue it onto your hair, which I'm amazed that people still do. They glue it on. You have the weave where you have the cap and then you weave onto. There are lots of different. Or you have the clip on, and European women tend to use the clip one where it's put on with a clamp and heat. And there are so many different methods. I talk about the pluses and the minuses of each method of weave. Again, wigs, the same thing, the half wig, the full wig, the glue wig, the lace front wig.
Lace front is in fashion now. I mean,
Absolutely.
you see, especially on public transportation now in London, you just see someone just like, you could have hidden it a bit better, but it's it's now in fashion and it's apparently better because...
Well, it's more realistic. I mean, Beyonce is the queen of the lace front wig.
It does look good.
But you can imagine hers are not bought in the high street.
No.
But it's not the price. Again, it's still not price. And again, you're gluing something onto your head.
Yeah.
You're going to be likely to be losing the hairs at the front because that's where the glue is going to sit in that area.
And it will be pulling.
Exactly. And when you take it off, there's a chance that you may lose the front of your hair. Again, your hair's not getting a chance to breathe.
So what have you learned since you went natural in 2009 and you wore all that journey, you've written a book, all that throughout, what have you learned about hair that you said, oh my gosh, I did not know this about black hair?
This is going to sound really vain. I've just realised how beautiful my own hair is, how beautiful Afro hair is. And I find it hard to believe now that this is about giving you a clue to my age. You probably can do the
Soon
mathematics.
You will be.
I permed my hair for 20 years, just about. And I was perming out my kinks, curls and frizz. And I'm like, I still can't believe I do it. I did that. And it's like, because back then, and for a lot of women today still, European hairstyles were the thing that we all aspired to.
It's the norm.
Exactly. To the point where people are now seeing people with Afro hair and are in shock. It's like, oh my God, is that your real hair? And that's funny. One of the questions I remember, I went on this cruise and the guy that was working in the on the ship, when I remember we were coming off our bags, this was in Miami, a black man said to me, oh, I love your hair. Is it real? And my hair was natural. That was a bad American accent, wasn't it?
We won't mind the accent.
But I said, yeah, it grows from my head. And he laughed and I laughed because he had never seen, and this was years ago, he'd never seen natural hair because the majority of
women... Isn't that a bit strange, though? Because the thing is, I presume that this man had a mother once upon a time, even now, a sister or somebody. But is that the same thing that you just said, that European hair, and I'm putting it on quote, is considered the norm.
Yeah.
To the point where now you hear stories, especially in the West, where people are saying, my hair's been considered unkempt.
Yeah.
When I apply for jobs. I show up for interviews, then suddenly there is a change of attitude.
Yeah.
Do you think that with what we are seeing now, with more of the black women wearing and being proud to wear their natural hair, that we're going to see a change in attitude where you won't have to worry about if you show up at work with your big afro?
Absolutely. And the thing is, we've got to lead the change because we know the reason why we believed European hair was the best hair: colonialization, slavery. We know it's a legacy. So we did it. We are now realizing, actually, we've got lovely hair. We're going to now have to show other people that is our hair and that's how it is. And people are learning the hard way. So some employers are learning the hard way. That school in South Africa is learning the hard way.
Well, those girls
stood
their ground.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because now they're going to learn and understand. There was a school here in the UK. It's happened everywhere. There are employers who don't get it. But then that's because we didn't represent. But we are representing now. And this is where the book comes in again. Young girls, because weaves, wigs and braids are so cheap, people are wearing them at a younger age. The problem is, if you damage your hair in the process, by the time you're 20 and you go out to work, you may have ruined your hair to the point where you've got to carry on wearing these things and you want to go natural. Because believe me, this natural thing isn't a fad. I don't think it's a fad. I think it's the future. And if you're going to want to get on board later on, do so. And I want you to be able to have the choice to do so. Mix and match like we do, but don't without ruining your hair. So if you're going to wear the weaves and braids, I just want people to understand how to do it in a really sensitive way. Enjoy it. Don't make it your life choice, because you're going to want to jump on board like the rest of us. We're just waiting for Michelle Obama and Beyonce to join us,
You
because we
reckon
know
they
it's
will
coming.
join us?
Yeah, I have no doubt.
Yeah?
I can see Beyonce's I can see the fact that she's got her daughter with her natural hair and her sister.
Oh, Solange
it's just
is leading
it's just
the
coming.
movement,
It's
yeah.
round the corner. Once she doesn't have to depend on maybe making a living.
But I mean, you will think, because she is Beyonce.
Yeah.
She doesn't even have a last name, a surname. She is Beyonce,
Yeah.
Queen Bee.
And that's her look.
Yeah, but the thing is, because you just mentioned when she no longer has to make that living. According to Forbes, she and Jay-Z, her husband, are worth almost $1 billion combined.
Mm-hmm.
How much is so much money that you can't even say time
Enough.
has arrived?
And I don't know that it's about money. I just think it's about the career. Because as you say, they've got enough money. It's not about that. But she's a brand. And the thing is, she appeals to black women and European women. And it's the look. And maybe if she looked more like a black woman because her hair was frizzy, she wouldn't appeal to a certain demographic.
But she's now kind of made that name. She's there. You cannot contest her talent.
But we like people that look like us to a large extent. We like to see, just like we like to see on TV, when you see someone that looks like you, I don't know about you, but when I see a black person on television, or even I hear them on the radio, I'm more inclined to move in and listen and wait to see what they've got to say, especially in this part of the world.
Yeah.
In the UK, in Europe, in the United States, it's still not just the norm. It's still a thing that happens. And for her, maybe she will appeal to less people if she was to then change her hair to frizzy hair.
That would be the day, as you
I
say,
think it's
seeing
coming.
Michelle Obama. And Beyonce.
I'm going to write an open letter to Michelle Obama.
What would you say in it?
I'm just going to say, please, and we know that you are really locked into this natural thing. We know she knows, because with her daughters, we saw them with their natural hair. And I think their hair maybe, I don't know now,
I
they're
think
bigger
it's-
girls.
Yeah,
I
it
think
could be
they're-
still.
I think
they
it's
just
pressed.
Press it, yeah.
Exactly. I just say, please, before you leave office, before the end of January, can you just put on even if it's a weave or a wig, but with a natural texture? Give us some frizz so you can tell everybody it's
Can you
acceptable.
imagine the op-eds that will be in the American media?
I just would be really nice. So
But that's the thing, though, because no other race has hair as a political statement.
absolutely. It means so many things in so many ways. And we've got such great hair.
We do. So if you're just joining us, by the way, we are on Facebook Live. I'm Victoria Vic, and I'm here with Valley Fontaine.
Otherwise known as Hair Valley.
Yep. So she's just written a book on how to grow longer, healthier, natural hair whilst wearing your weaves, your wigs and braids like she did. So she's giving herself as an example, and keep the questions coming on. And somebody just had actually posted something here on Facebook saying that Chris Rock's documentary, Good Hair,
Yeah.
most of us who have watched it, Creamy Crack, that's
Yeah,
when
absolutely.
everybody was watching it. It says it delves into this whole thing about black women and, how they can have their hair look beautiful at any time of the day. What the thing about that documentary was showing the other side that people never knew, at what lengths.
That we go to.
See what I did there? Length hair.
Very good, very good.
What lengths we black women go to get that look that is European norm, that is acceptable.
Yeah.
But again, you just have the people like the Natural Movement, the Solanges of this world, the Janelle Monets, us sitting here having this conversation. People are seeing us more on TV. They're seeing us more in newspapers where we're making it normal. And now we just, you just think, have we arrived?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so without a doubt. I think the interesting thing is some people do think it's a fad. But I don't know about you. I've managed to influence, I can think, 2 or 3 sisters, friends. I can't imagine the amount of people. I've lost count of the amount of people that have come up to me and said, oh, at first it was like, oh, you're going natural. And then it was like, oh, I'm going natural too now.
Do you get, because I, personally speaking, whenever I see someone who has natural hair, I get giddy and I get happy.
Yeah.
And of course it has to do with, I might, go to this person and ask, beautiful hair, you're hoping to get tips and, how can you get that? Do you also get that feeling of, my God?
Totally. And I'm noticing on TV advertising, the advertisers now. So even if you're a model, you need to get your natural hair fixed up, whether it's a weave or natural. But the advertisers I've seen on our TVs here in the UK, when they use black models, the black models all have a natural hair. So they get cutting on to this is the thing. And I think because of political awareness, and as you said, our hair is political, I don't think people will be going back. And the beauty is, if they want straight hair tomorrow, they can put a wig on or a weave on. We don't have
Just
to.
like your shoulders.
Exactly.
It's so easy to
We
kind
don't-
of
yeah,
do.
yeah.
Just what is it that is there anything you can say you hate about the changes that your hair has been through, looking back now throughout your journey?
It's not been, I'm not going to say it's been easy. And this is the interesting thing, the problem is the whole kind of wanting to have straight hair. It's not only do black women, African women want to have straight hair, we also want to have length. And because I had a reasonable length all my life, the idea of doing the big chop, and this is the dilemma I had when I decided to go natural, and everyone was big chopping, and you have the two textures, and if you comb it, they will snap where they meet. And I had like this much hair, and I had this a long bit of straight hair, and I thought, oh my gosh, what do I do? And that's why I started wearing and making my own wigs. I've forgotten the question.
No, is there something that it's all right along the way, something that you found out that you quite did not like about your hair?
About my hair, it's not easy. I'm not going to pretend to you. Like, the reason I've got this on the back now is because I can only wear my hair out for so many days. I like wearing my hair out, and I don't have it out all the time. And I say the out, this is out, when I just have this bit hanging down. It doesn't look so great in this weave, but this is my staple hairstyle, so to speak. But I can only do that for about 4 or 5 days before my hair gets very dry. And, it's not about, our hair, the more your hair is in the air, the drier it will get.
Yeah.
If you have it in plaits or in a bun, it's going to stay more moist. And then it gets tangly because I don't comb it. I use my fingers. I only comb it with a comb on wash days. It's not easy. And the reason why I did this, because of the dark nights and the early dark mornings and the shift I'm working on at the moment, I find I haven't got the time that my hair requires. Thus, I put this on. I'll put it on for a couple of weeks and I'll do something else. Yeah. But the point of the matter is it takes time. Oh, wash day. Hair wash day? Oh, bring back my perm, please.
Everybody knows
that was
about
5 minutes.
Day. Tell
hair
us, what
day.
is your wash day like? Everybody has their own days.
It's painful. And don't ask me how often I wash her hair. It's another story altogether.
No, just tell us how many hours. That's what, because everybody has their own different thing.
Well, I've tried it. I've got it down to about 2-3 hours now, the whole process.
Yeah.
But I'm not into this whole deep conditioning again.
Oh, there's so many things.
I don't do all that.
The co-wash.
I don't do that. I co-wash.
The poo wash.
Yeah, I co-wash, which is washing your hair with conditioner and not using a shampoo because it's milder. I do that, but I don't do the deep conditioning and so on. If people like to do that, fine. For me, I don't find it makes my hair feel any better. In fact, it makes my hair feel drier. And
so talk us through the best practices of how to preserve your weaves and wigs and your braids to the best for your hair.
I would just say you've got to keep them on for the least time as possible. If you're going to go for weaves, wigs and braids, the shorter the better, the less pressure and is put on your hair. Don't get them wet. I know some people wash them. I just, you know what, you can even get braids now, or wig braids, instead of actually plaiting your own hair. They look pretty good, actually very realistic because they have the natural part now. And I know you might think, oh my gosh, I'd rather have but it's not going to be doing the damage to the hair. It won't take you all day. You can put the wig on, you can take it off. But the truth of the matter is you've got to be thinking less is more, less is more, less is more. And you've got to remember.
Less time with the wigs and the waves.
And the braids. Yeah. And you've got to just be thinking, don't put pressure on your hair. Whatever, you shouldn't be feeling it. If you can feel it, that says it's too heavy. You don't want to feel it. You shouldn't be able to feel tightness or pressure. That's not a good thing. That means you're doing something that is not natural for your hair, and your hair will tell you about it later on. Well, it'll break.
Funny enough, there's a comment on our Facebook. Somebody, Dana McBromano, says the challenge now is reclaiming damaged edges, as we were saying. The person who does that will be a multimillionaire overnight.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you can solve that problem, you will. I mean, that is the trick. But the trick is you can look after it yourself. And instead of having to find someone to put back what's gone, you've got to learn to do your hair wherein you don't lose it in the first place. It's not inevitable. And for one, really, please, if anything, I really would say stop putting our little girls in long braids. Don't. And if you want to braid their hair with extensions, keep it short because it's less heavy. You know what children are like. They're swinging their hair. They're enjoying it.
And then people will say, it's easier to keep to keep that hair because
Well, you can plait their own hair. We can plait their own hair. We don't have to put the extensions in.
So I'm not even going to mention how long this has been on. But, enough to say that I kind of preempted your book. I have undone some.
Oh, really?
The
Oh,
front,
good for
because
you.
I had to.
And it looks fine. I wouldn't have known that.
Because my baby hairs were almost gone.
Okay.
And I say, I hadn't had braids on for about a year and a half because I was literally on the way to losing them. I say,
Okay.
no more braids, no nothing. I'm just going to keep my hair and then hopefully they'll grow back.
Yeah.
Thankfully they are.
Yeah.
So when I had done my braids a while ago now, they should be out really. So I started, when I started seeing it's going, then I said, no, I undid the front. But then I just feel so unkempt. Again, it's going back to that feeling.
And that's in your mind. And that's
Yeah.
the interesting thing, because I'm looking at your hair right now, and absolutely, I didn't think to myself, oh, she hasn't done the front. I didn't think that. I just thought your hairline looked healthy.
Yeah.
So that's the interesting thing. And your hair is not, your bun is not too tight. I can see those twists up there don't look like they're stressing out your hair.
Yeah. So what is the most misconception, the biggest misconception about black Afro hair?
That it's
You
too dry.
found.
And our hair is natural.
Isn't it?
Our hair is naturally dry, whatever dry is. I mean, who...
When you say our hair, do you mean like all human races or just
Well,
Afro hair?
there's the belief that Afro hair is dry because we're comparing it to when it was relaxed. Because relaxed, it was silky because you would ironed all the kinks
Smooth,
out, so it felt smooth and it had the product and it felt not dry. Natural hair feels drier. It's not dry; it's normal. If you're going to compare it to European hair, again, you will call it dry. It's not dry; it's normal hair. That's the normal texture. Our hair isn't as smooth feeling because we've got lots of kinks in it. It's, friction. So that's a problem. And people are all trying to think, oh, how do I make my hair less dry? And they're buying all these products. How do I make my less... Well, for one, if you're going to wear your hair out, it's going to be more dry than if you wear your hair in plaits or cane road or in a ponytail. If you're going to have it out, it'll get drier quicker than if you have it
the air
in.
sucks in the moisturizer.
So, that's that battle of people going on to, oh, my hair is dry. Well, you know what? The choice is yours. As I said, I'll have mine out for 4 days at a time, 5 days at a push. After that, I will do a style where I don't have it out because it feels, I'm not happy with the way it feels and I want it to be less crispy.
Yeah, because there's also this thing, not only do you get the media leading saying, oh, certain way is the way to be.
Yeah.
Again, it also comes with attractiveness. And you've probably heard stories, as with most people, where you have, especially black men saying, oh, that natural head. And I recently read something that actually brought tears to my eyes. It was a man who, because you rarely hear from that side of things, where he was actually saying he sat down and cried when his wife actually went from, she did like you did, so she didn't do the big chop like I do, most people do. She just went through, and then eventually there was nothing left, and then she had her natural hair, and when he saw it, he cried. And there's that whole thing of, we think that a certain way is the way to look. But then again, you hear stories of these young women especially who are in relationships.
Around the pressure too.
Yeah, where they feel like, I have to look a certain way
Have to have length, have to have a certain look.
The Kardashian hair, as you're saying.
Yeah.
So how do these young girls or women growing up, how do they combat that? Because everybody wants to feel attractive.
Yeah, and the truth of the matter is, the more they see everybody else, the more they see us older women doing it, the more they see their mums, their sisters, their cousins doing it, the more they see people in the public life doing it, the more they'll realise, actually, this is normal. Not only that, the same way a lot of us at first were very tied into this whole creamy, cracked, straight hair thing. Don't expect the men to change overnight. We didn't change overnight. We went on. It was a journey. It was a journey.
We need to bring them onto the journey with us.
Absolutely.
Include them.
Yeah, they'll get it. They'll get it. It'll come. It's everywhere now. It's absolutely everywhere. So it's coming. And, for instance, when I first started going natural, when I first started wearing wigs, I would have a straight wig. I wouldn't wear straight anymore. I'd wear a wig, but it has to have
Why wouldn't you wear a straight
Because
wig?
I don't think it's me. It doesn't feel like me. I don't want flat hair anymore. I don't want my hair to be flat. I want my hair to have body.
Yeah.
I think body suits me, whereas before I used to think straight suited me. So, you come around and, at first I didn't know how to dress when I had my hair full and frizzy and natural. I was like, I looked in the mirror and I thought, oh, what do I do?
And how you walk and
Everything.
how you carry yourself and talk to people, it changed.
Absolutely.
So I remember when I was doing because I did another big chop earlier this year in January. But the first one in 2011 was when the guy, he was very shocked. Just like, you want to cut your, I'm just, put on whatever you've got. Let's just get it done.
Yeah.
And he just done one side. And then I still had creamy cracked hair
Yeah.
on the other side.
Yeah.
And I just remember looking at my ears and I'm thinking, my God, I will not show up to work tomorrow. Where am I going to? Because everything then is in your face because there's nothing left there. And it was after, I think, 15 years, just, perming my hair. I had knots in my hair. And I had to do my hair out of necessity. I had just moved to the West.
Yeah.
What do you do with natural hair in winter up north in Norway? But that idea of how will I talk? And for a whole week, I felt like an imposter. This is not me. This is some other person. But then I grew into it.
And
I
now-
walk differently.
Yeah.
Now I don't know how it will go back.
Exactly.
So it's so we have a comment. Somebody, Anslim Antoine, that Tamara Graham just wants you to elaborate a little bit more on wash day. What is wash day? Just break it down to those
Okay.
who don't
What I do
speak
is
the lingo as we do.
Okay. Wash day is the day you have to wash your hair eventually. I don't wash my hair that often. And again, I have a chapter where I talk about hair washing. There isn't a...
Specific.
Exactly. It's choice. I know somebody did an experiment and didn't wash their hair for a year. It was an interesting little article. And, he found his hair was in better condition. Women of European hair tend to wash their hair daily because they're getting rid of the grease. African hair, Afro hair, loves grease and products. So we're not trying to wash it out. We want to keep it in to help it with its softness and, less dryness. The wash day is something that the day I have to wash my hair, I make it sound like I didn't do it once a year. No, I do it a bit more often than that. And it doesn't smell.
Yeah.
It doesn't smell. But the thing is, it's a case of what I do first, the preparation. I will get cheap conditioner. I'll buy the biggest bottle of hair conditioner I can get, cheapest I can find.
Yeah.
I use it for slip. Because what I do is I saturate it on my hair and I use my fingers and I
Comb through.
That's right, with my fingers initially and then comb through and get rid of all the dead hair. Because I don't comb my hair daily, the dead hairs are still in there and they start tangling up. So it's a real process and it takes ages. But I will get all the dead hair out. When I've done that, then I will wash. And I tend to wash with a conditioner as well rather than a shampoo because it's very harsh. And then I keep my hair in 4, so I'll separate it into 4 pieces, 4 areas.
You do
4
each
plaits.
section at a
I
time?
do one section at a time. In the shower, I'll wash each section, condition each section, twist it.
Gosh, I'm imagining someone listening to this or watching us now on Facebook thinking, this
my
sounds
God.
like a full-time job.
Yeah.
So really, when you tell people, I can make
I'm
an
washing my hair
event,
tonight.
It's really true.
It's the truth. And then I will sort of towel dry-ish, just take out the excess water, and then I will put my product in. So I'll just use a hair moisturizer. Again, something cheap. I use a water-based moisturizer, and then I put an oil on top. I use olive oil. So
What
I
do
get it
you
out of my
use?
kitchen.
So the two different things, because I know what you're talking about, but just expand a little bit more on why you use water-based first and then oil.
Okay. The water base will help to enhance the crinkle, the hair pattern. And I'm not using a comb at this stage. And so therefore, when my hair's wet, it might look a bit, similar-ish, not as silky and not as defined, but certainly if I'm just putting product on like this, it will help to increase the curl texture. And then I'll use oil to lock it in because the watercolour
Seals
oil.
in.
That's right. And then I will put my hair usually in plaits. And then I'll plait it. Not going to go out that night. And if I do go out that night, I might just put a hat on or a wig on. The next day, I will usually put it in a style that I don't need to actually unplait it. So I wear my hair in 2 plaits quite often. Again, this is a style I've never worn before, but I've kind of thought, okay, I can get away with this. It kind of looks, I can try and pretend I'm a bit funky and have 2 plaits and big earrings.
So you're protecting it and it's a style in itself.
And I'll leave that in for about a week and a half until I get to the stage where I take the back out. So it's a process. I'll take I never wear the whole thing out. I always have the front tied back. For work, it's easier. It's tidier.
It saves you time in the
Exactly.
morning.
I haven't got to worry about the wind blowing in all different directions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your stance on heat? Because I know every naturalist has some like to just low heat.
Heat is definitely going to damage your hair. It's going to make it drier, and it's more likely to break. There's a tension method where you can actually pull the hair down and then run the hairdryer along. That's called the tension method, where you can use that if you wanted to straighten your hair. I would not use the blow dryer with the combs, because the more you comb your hair, the more you're going to break it. You'll find on the bathroom floor, you'll find lots of loose hairs. So if you're trying to retain length, I would say the tension method. Again, if you're going to use flat irons, you've got to use it on a very low temperature and not do it too often. I've not straightened mine since I've gone natural, actually. But if I did, I don't know that I will actually anymore. I remember I always thought, oh, I'll do it for my birthday or I'll do it for Christmas. No,
Yeah.
no.
So I get back to your hair journey and what brought you to this. And is this the picture on here? Is this your hair or is this
No,
some
that's my hair.
weaves? This is your hair.
Yeah.
Then, I mean, I might ask, why then do you want to put in the weaves and the wig?
Well, as I said, my weave is done in a very non-load bearing way. It's about sometimes just convenience. It's just convenience. And at the moment, it's cold. And I can't be bothered to sometimes go home and have to plait my hair, because I'd plait my hair every night. Maybe just do 2 or 3 plaits at the back just to keep it soft and keep the curl pattern for the next morning. I don't have to worry about that. In the morning, it's quick. I don't have to unplait my hair. Because I'll even be known, if you go on my website, you'll see a video of me unplaiting my hair on the way to the bus stop.
Wow.
I'm doing it in the street.
Number one, you run holding your bun, you're unplaiting your hair on the street.
Yeah.
Multitasking. So, again, this is Vali Fontaine with her book. Let me see if I can get it there. How to Grow Longer, Healthier, Natural Hair whilst wearing your weaves, wigs, and braids.
Like I did.
Yeah, like you did. So I've never worn any of those, but it's good speaking to you.
Thank
'Cause, you know, I
you.
learned so much about this.
Thank
just
you.
the
Thank
different things how you can protect. So hopefully, I'm not saying I'm going to wear any weaves or wigs, but this will remain my friend.
And good. I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't. I'm not telling people to, and that's very important. I'm not, because that is not the best option.
Yeah.
But if you do it without causing damage.
Yeah.
But certainly, no, I'm not encouraging it at all. And please, people, don't put them in your children's hair. Don't.
You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us, both to Vali Fontaine and those watching us. It was
Yeah.
lovely having you.
Thank
Again,
you.
hair is always something that everybody always want to talk about.
That's right. And
We just love our hair.
And if you want to see more of my stuff, my videos and stuff, Hair Valley on the website, hairvalley.com. I had to think about that. On Twitter, it's _. On Instagram, it's Hair Valley. But Hair Valley, basically, is where you'll find me, hairvalley.com.
Thank you so very
Thank
much for
you.
speaking to us.
Thanks very much.
I just need... But it's so interesting because it's still something that we all want to talk about. It's always something
It's
that
fascinating, and you said there's so many aspects to it, and it's political, and it's talking about, there's the blogging side of it, there's the political side of it, there's the straightening side of it, there's the length thing, there's the